Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Shay and I am a full-time artist as well as streamer over on Twitch. I have created hundreds and hundreds of emotes and sub badges and streamer graphics for people over on the platform, and I'm here to show you exactly how I do that using an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and an app called Procreate. So the first thing you're going to need obviously is an iPad.
That cracks me up.
Now you can get an iPad of any size. You would have to confirm which ones work with Procreate, as I do think that they don't work on every single iPad. I have the iPad 12.9 Pro. And the reason I have the bigger one is because this is my full-time job, and when I got it, it was my plan to do art full-time and make it a career. So I opted to go and spend a little bit more money and get the larger one, just because it gives me more work surface and more space to actually do my drawings. The next piece of equipment that you're going to need that is also quite crucial to doing emotes for Twitch is an Apple Pencil. If you're wondering what this is, because I wasn't wearing it in the last clip, this is a pressure sensitivity blocking glove. So what this does is it makes it so that while I'm drawing over on my iPad, I don't transfer any accidental lines with my palm of my hand. The Apple Pencil is crucial to doing these emotes. Now, I know some people can do emotes using just their mouse and scanning and importing it into Photoshop, but that is not what this video is about. This is for people who are looking to do it directly on the iPad. The final piece that you're going to need to make these emotes over on your iPad is an app called Procreate. Now, this app is available on the App Store and it's only $9.99 and not $999, $9.99. This is an incredible app and the price is beyond reasonable. Because I'm doing this full time, I do also have the Adobe Creative Suite. Now, for me, that's a monthly subscription, which can get pretty pricey. So if you're just starting out, I find that Photoshop can be a more expensive route to take, whereas with Procreate, it's a one-time fee of $10 and you have access to custom brushes, all sorts of different canvas sizes, a full array of colors, layers, editing layers, different types of blend modes for the layers, screen, color dodge, multiply, add, normal. You can adjust the opacity. There is so much that you can do. And quite honestly, as somebody who uses both of these apps, Photoshop and Procreate, I find that Procreate does just as much as Photoshop does. And it is a fraction, like a penny, versus the cost it would cost you to go with Photoshop. Now, there's one more piece of equipment that I find to be very helpful for me when I'm drawing, and it was a complete game changer from how I used to draw on my iPad before. Now, I'm not affiliated with this company, although I would love to be. Sketchboard Pro, if you're listening. I will link it down below. It is called Sketchboard Pro for the iPad. And what that basically is a holder that holds the iPad and lifts it up on an angle so that you are not hunched over, or what I like to used to do was sit on the sofa with the iPad up against my knees, and it killed my back. It hurt my neck. It was horrible. My posture was awful. I mean, I'm pretty sure my posture right now is actually not very good. So yeah, this is $120 USD, and it is, I completely recommend it. I think that if you're going to be doing this full time and you really want to get into it and you want a professional workspace to work with, then I recommend getting the Sketchpad Pro to hold your iPad. Okay, so I have my Procreate app open, and the first thing I'm going to want to do is click the plus sign at the top, and we're going to select a 500 by 500 pixel canvas size. Now you can do a smaller size if you want to. We are later going to reduce the sizes into a 112, 56 and 28 pixel. So I like to work with a larger canvas just because it gives me more room to do some details. And the color profile that you're going to want to pick is an RGB profile. So P3 is usually fine, or an sRGB, no issues with that. So now that we have our canvas open, the next thing I like to do is I do like to have some reference photos. So I have a second monitor here at my desk, and that's the monitor that I like to use to pull up some photos of the subject that I'm drawing. So today we are going to be revamping our original first emote that I have ever done for my Twitch channel, and that is the Snorlax eating a hamburger. So with emotes, one tip that I like to give everybody is that you have to remember that the emote is going to be quite small when you're done with it. So for me, I really like to zoom in very close on the subject's face, so that way there's a lot of the emotion. That was terrible. From time to time, I do also like to flip the canvas around. The reason I do that is because I find that when you're looking at something for a really long time, your eyes start to almost not see when there's perspective issues or ratio issues with the subject. So I find that it's really helpful from time to time to just move the canvas around, and then you can kind of get a fresh look on the picture, and then you can fix accordingly. Okay, so now we're going to be doing our next sketch layer. So what I like to do is I like to click on the N button, which deals with your layer blend modes and your opacity. And I like to actually turn it down really, really, really down, like to the point where it's barely even noticeable. And then I will open up a new layer, which will be my second sketch layer. And I will take a different color, like a red. It's whatever color suits you. And I will go and do more line work on this. So I'm going to start with the body. What I'd like to do is I am going to take a new layer, and you guessed it, we are going to turn the opacity down on this layer pretty low to the point where I can barely see it. And I'm going to hide the hamburger because that is not the layer that I am dealing with. Ensure that the layer you're using is going to be on top of the sketch layer. So for my emotes, I like to do a black line work. Some people like to use colored lines. I am a really big fan of the black lines. I'm going to go to an inking brush, and I am going to select the Studio pen. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that looks. We are going to open the two layers and take a little look at it, and I think this looks really great the way it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this hamburger layer down. I don't need it anymore. And we are ready for our coloring phase. Okay, so now we're ready to color with Procreate. So a really awesome way to do this is to use something called a reference layer. And what that does is it makes it so you can just color drop everything. It's super fast, very easy, way better than trying to manually color it in like this, or trying to use the lasso tool and outlining everything manually. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take the line work layer, and you're gonna wanna switch it to reference. And you're gonna take a new layer for your color, leave it on the normal blend mode, and take your color and drop it. What this does is it keeps all the colors down, sort of contained within the line work layer. Now, the reason I said earlier in this video was why I wanted to close off this section over here is because any holes in that layer, in the reference layer, the color will go through. Now what I can do is show you what I mean by that. I'm going to take now Snorlax's belly layer, or belly color, creamy off-white color. And for example, let's say, see how there is right here, there's a space. What I'm going to do is I'm going to color drop for his belly, and it colors everything down there. So had I have not closed this off, the blue could have seeped into the belly layer. So it's very important to remember when you're coloring that if there are a separation with two colors and you want it to be defined with a black line, then you should ensure that you close that off before you actually go into your reference layer. Now to start shading, what I like to do is like to select the layer that I'm going to be working with. So I like to start with the body first. So I'm going to highlight the layer that I'm using, hit select, and that locks that specific layer so that I'm only coloring within that layer. And we are going to go make a new layer on top of everything. I'm just going to make one simple shadow layer. So I'm going to pick and select all the other layers and shade them on one specific layer. And I want to set that layer to multiply. And so I'm going to take a brush. I like to use a medium airbrush. Some people like to use a soft airbrush. I find if it's too soft, it starts to look very muddy. And sometimes if it's too hard, it can look a little bit too much like cell shading. I have a style that's right in between. So I do some with a hard brush and some with a soft brush. So I'll take a medium brush for this and I'll increase the size a little bit. And then I'll just start going in and shading. Now that the emote is shaded and highlighted and in my opinion done, I am going to double check that I like the way the highlights look and the shadows look by turning off the background color layer. When we do emotes, we do need to save them as a transparent PNG, so that way they show up on the light mode and also the dark mode. So I'm just gonna flick that off and then take another look at the emote. And if I'm happy with how it looks, I'm gonna proceed to the next step. So the final and most important step when designing an emote is to actually double check that it looks good as an emote using an emote preview website. The one I really like to use is called APPLIC.DEV, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use that right now. So what I want to do is I want to save the image. So here we are on the website. I have saved my final emote as a PNG and saved it to my iPad. I'm going to go to this website and I'm going to upload it using the plus icon, and then I'm going to import it. And now we can see in the light and dark mode how the emote looks when it's already shrunk down really small. Now you can see how the hamburger looks a lot better in a really small emote because we enlarged it. And that's actually something I did off the recording. I made the hamburger a little bit bigger because I thought it looked too small the way it was. So if you're happy with this finished product, at this point, I would show this to the client as well and make sure that they're happy with the way it looks, because this really is the final step. So we're going to go back into the gallery and we are going to press the plus icon because we're going to select a new canvas. Now we're going to reduce this 500 pixels into 112 pixels. So I already have these pre-saved in my canvas options. I already have them written out as well as Twitch Emote 112, Twitch Emote 56, and Twitch Emote 28. Those are the three sizes that you're going to need to resize for the client. So I'm going to open up Twitch and we're just going to want to paste, because right now we do have copy canvas open. We're just going to paste, and that is all you need to do. We are going to copy this canvas again, and we are going to go into the next smaller size, which is going to be the 56. Make sure you do not touch the screen with your hand. There has been the odd time where I accidentally did something like that. I just smashed my iPad. I don't usually smash my iPad, but there's been an odd time where I accidentally included a little tiny flaw. So make sure that you do not do that. We do not need to copy this canvas again. Resizing from a 112 is usually fine. We're going to go to the 28 pixels, same thing, very carefully, just paste it and exit. So at this point, your emotes are ready to send to the client. And the way I like to do that is not via email. I actually like to upload everything to a Google Drive folder. The reason being is sometimes I find that when things are emailed, Gmail also likes to compress files, and I always want to make sure everything is as crisp and as beautiful as I intended it to be when it's delivered to the client. So what you're going to want to do is select all three of those, share, and then upload it to a Google Drive folder. All right, everyone, that's it for this YouTube tutorial. I hope that you found it informative. If you have any questions about the video, or you need some more help, or there was parts of the video that weren't so clear for you, please drop a comment down below. I would love to hear from all of you. If there's any other tutorials or tips that you wanted, also please leave a comment and maybe we'll feature that in the next video. Go out there, make some beautiful art for everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.